With me is Gilad Atzmon. Gilad, welcome back to Double Standards.
I'm very happy to be with you.
Amidst all the mainstream media coverage of the conflict, how have you been reading what's been happening in Gaza?
Yeah, I'm following it closely. Unlike most of our friends, actually, I monitor Israeli press, and it is shocking to see how confused they are, how divided they are. It is very clear that quite a few of them want to see blood, they want to see Palestinian, they want to see invasion, they want to see a lot of Palestinian, they want to see Palestinian civilization.
But wait a minute, the Israeli left is against it, aren't they? They're there on the streets demonstrating against...
I don't know what is left out of the Israeli left, but this is on the other end, some people within the right, and I would even include Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, are very worried of the escalation. We have to remember that this war was initially a limited election operation. Usually before an Israeli election, the serving prime minister decided to kill some Palestinians. Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. It's realized as an electoral asset. And what happened there? We could see that they met serious resistance. The Palestinian defiance. I was on the verge.
Why is it serious? What, 3, 4, 5 single digits Israeli casualties compared to Palestinians?
It's not the number of casualties. What has been proven is that the Palestinians were, and the Hamas and other fractions in the region were accumulating a lot of ballistic weapons. And it is true that these missiles do not inflict a lot of damage on Israel. It is true that Israel found a way to deal with it. You know, the Iron Dome is so efficient that it's almost legitimate to rocket Israel.
Really?
Yeah, you know, because if I cannot really hurt you, you know, so
we're banned in Britain already, so we won't be taken off the air for that kind of comment.
Yeah, exactly. It's an advantage when you are banned. In spite of that, the Palestinians are now capable of delivering the message, the necessary message to the people in Tel Aviv. And I actually regard those rockets as a peaceful message. It's a message to stolen land. And what it says, we are here surrounded by barbed wires, but we didn't forget our orchards, we didn't forget our cities, we didn't forget our villages. We are tired of this oppression.
I'm not sure what the relatives of the Israelis who died would say
by the way, it is very clear that quite a few Israelis are not capable to interpret this message appropriately. But I'll tell you something else. Israel is regarded by itself and by world Jewry as the Jewish shelter, the Jewish national shelter. When I see these pictures of Israeli lying under the cars when they hear the siren, it doesn't look like a shelter. It looks like the most dangerous place for Jews ever. And I think that the Palestinians have managed to come up with a tactic with very limited sources that deliver this message. And it's actually, I find it adorable. They proved again that they can take penalty, which is very painful for us to watch, and they are united. While the Israeli society is not united, all reports from Gaza suggests that the Palestinians, in spite of the Israeli bombardment, in spite of the targeting of Hamas and targeting of civilians, the Palestinians in Gaza are united, and this is adorable.
Well, then Netanyahu, who you're kind of painting like a dove in the situation. People like Lieberman, Avigdor Lieberman and others, what are they going to be saying in your scenario if they understand it the way you are?
By the way, I didn't paint Netanyahu as a dove.
Or forceful.
No. Netanyahu doesn't want to engage in a land invasion or postponed it for a while, because he realizes that from his own political perspectives, this is an unpredictable domain. He doesn't know what is going to happen. I think that
Sharon's son, of course, was widely
exactly and
quoted because of the Jerusalem Post.
As Sharon's son, and as I wrote about it the other day, Sharon's son's ideas are actually totally consistent with the Zionist philosophy, with Jabotinsky.
Just remind our viewers what he said.
He just said that basically the Israeli army is to wipe out Gaza to oblivion. This is totally consistent with the Zionist philosophy. Devastatingly enough, it is also consistent with the Israeli secular interpretation of the Old Testament. You know, you can find verses in the Old Testament that tell you, wipe them all, don't leave a single breathing species, and unfortunately, in Israel...
You're going to get charges of anti-Semitism when you start to say it's in Jewish doctrine to wipe out a whole society.
I didn't say that there is a Jewish doctrine. I said that there are definitely Old Testament verses. It's actually not Judaic. This is what is so interesting about Judaism. Jews, the religious Jews, do draw their religious inspiration not from the Bible, but from the Talmud. Now, the Talmud is devastating enough, but for different reasons.
As are all older elements of the big religions.
Now, in in different religions, you also find some devastating ideas. What is so frightening about Israel is that Israel and Zionism, the philosophy, have managed to drain out the spiritual context from the Bible and from Judaism, and they managed to turn God into an estate agent. Now, if I'm an regarded as an anti-Semite for saying it, I can live with it.
I think you have a view about, just in terms of pure quantitative death numbers, illustrate your point.
Yeah, no, this is very crucial point, and it's a very devastating point. As we know, in 1948, 750 Palestinians were expelled and massacred from on their land, from their land, and the world was laughing. In 67, 750,000 expelled. Obviously massacres was a smaller scale. 67, Israel invaded huge territories, and the world was applauding. In 82, I was a soldier. I remember the figures that we spoke about, 20,000 Lebanese who lost their life. And I didn't hear much condemnation from world leaders. But there was a beginning of something. Even in this country, I think that the PSC, I'm not that I'm that impressed with the PSC anymore.
Palestinian
but the
Palestinian
it was formed in these years, by the way, by a few Jews, actually. In 2006, Israel was actually defeated. It couldn't mobilize as much power as it wanted, because it started to see some condemnation. I think that around 5,000 or 6,000 Lebanese against Hezbollah lost their life. In Operation Cast Lead, Israel murdered 1,400 people. We can see that the numbers are going down, and they ended up with Goldstone report and serious condemnation. And now, in this operation, from day one, they can see that they cannot mobilize their destructive power. The game is over for Israeli militarism. In spite of that, they're still killing quite a few, but the power of deterrence really belong to the past. They don't have future in the region. It's over.
Gilad Atzmon, as ever, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know lots of people, media organizations are not wanting you to appear, but you're always welcome here.
I really appreciate it.
Now it's time for People of Britain. Let's go to our roaming reporter. Time for our special section, A Christmassy People of Britain. Over to you, Leicester Square.
Yes, Afshin, Leicester Square here. Very Christmassy all around. The Queen on her Jubilee. First time a Queen addressed the Cabinet. That's the ruling coalition party here in Britain since the 19th century. Anyway, they presented her with a strange gift. 60 of these things. Apparently that object is a manifestation or a kind of depiction of David Cameron himself, or at least the way he sees himself. Anyway, People of Britain time. David Beckham, worth millions. One of his children is going to be working for Burberry Fashion. He says child labour should be much more prevalent in society. Do you agree with child labour?
Depending whereabouts you're implementing it, I suppose.
So you do support it?
Well, I mean, if it's for modelling, then yeah. But if it's for making shoes, no.
Do you agree with child labour?
You'd have done it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have done it.
For Burberry? Yeah.
Yeah, I would have done it.
Yes, child labour, I'm in